Good evening, volunteers. I hope y'all are doing well tonight, but I wanted to bring y'all together to talk about the impact of youth discipleship and the need that we have for it in our church. In order to understand the need for discipleship, the best place to go is the Bible. The Bible is where we should go to back up everything, and we can see that Scripture shows us the importance of the youth in our church. In 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 12, Paul writes, "Don't let anyone despise your youth, but set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity." In the story of David, we can also see that David was youth aged when he faced off against Goliath and started to make an impact for God's kingdom. Now, obviously, these are only a couple of examples of many others that we can find throughout Scripture, such as Proverbs 22, verse 6, that talks about training up a child in the way that they should go, so that when they grow old, they will not depart from it. They will not depart from the faith. Now, youth are still children, just sometimes a little more difficult than their younger siblings in the children's ministry. The students, however, are in a different stage of development, and we should take the time to understand their development and to take their development into consideration. A couple of aspects to know about the development of youth is that they are part of the first post-Christian generation. The post-Christian generation refers to the fact that this generation is experiencing a decline in church attendance, belief in God, prayer, and Bible reading. I'm hoping that discipleship of students will cause them to stay in church both now and in the future. Three things that will help in the development, but also the discipleship of students, is learning by doing, relationships, and meaning making. Students have to understand what they are doing, and their relationships with leaders and others are also a vital part of their development. Meaning making, however, refers to making sense of what is going on around them. They want to know why things happen. And when they understand the why, it helps them understand the subject more, which in the end hopefully allows them to understand more about Christ. But what is the best way to disciple them? Well, I'm glad you asked. With discipling youth, they want to see people that truly care about them and want to build a relationship with them. The relationships that they build with others impact their faith journey and the formation of their faith as a whole. Another key component of youth discipleship is that youth need to understand exactly what they believe. Youth can't take their parents' faith and call it their own, or they can't take spiritual leaders' faith, such as you and me, and call it their own. If they do that, then when they leave to go to college or move away for a job, then their whole foundation has collapsed because their foundation was built on someone else's faith and not Christ. Dr. James Fowler points this out in his stages of faith. Here's the cool part about discipling youth, though, is that we get to play a part in it. You and I need to see the importance of discipling youth and pouring into their lives with the wisdom that we have gained over the years in our own walks with Christ. Brad Griffin shows that discipleship of a youth by 3 or more adults will help the probability of them staying in church once they leave to go to college or enter young adulthood. As leaders, we should want to see students grow faith that is unshakable once they leave these walls so that they can go and make an impact for God's kingdom wherever they go. But now that you know more about the developmental aspect of youth and the best way to disciple them, here's the easy part: finding a curriculum. But I've already done that for you. This curriculum for students is by Deep Discipleship and runs throughout the whole year. This discipleship curriculum will take them through different materials, such as making worship a part of everything they do, the importance of biblical fellowship and community, and the different ways that God intervenes on our behalf. Now, as you can see for yourself, you can look and see the rest of the material. But after much research, I do believe this is the best curriculum for our students. And here's a plus: it's affordable, which is part of what I want to show you next. These are the resources that I need to help disciple the youth. The first resource is a youth pastor, which is great since we already have one who we know loves the students. But I also need 4 volunteers, which isn't asking for a bunch, but this is the minimum. I'd love to have more if more of y'all want to come and volunteer. I'd love to have 8 of y'all show up. Being a volunteer is just being there to help the youth pastor in any capacity he may need. These students need adults pouring into their lives and that truly do care about them. They need you. Your discipleship may be what helps motivate them to stay in church for the rest of their lives. Now, with us being a group of 40 students, I don't need that many rooms. I only need one large room where we all can meet together. But then sometimes I may like to separate boys and girls, so I'd need 2 smaller rooms as well to be able to separate them. But remember how cheap I said it was? This discipleship curriculum, which includes all the curriculum needed, it includes worship songs, emails to be able to send out to volunteers and parents, games, event ideas, and strategy guides to help grow the youth ministry, is only $595 for the whole year. Now that is a bargain if I've ever seen one. $595 for all of that material. It is worth it to be able to disciple these students in the best way possible. I just want to thank y'all for being here tonight and being open to hearing my heart behind youth discipleship and the importance and impact it can have on the students. I hope you will join me in preparing part of the church to go and make an impact for God's kingdom. All it takes is a simple yes, and see where God leads and how He works not only in the students' lives, but also yours.